Hey, this is Tournament Takeaway with Fish on a Heater. This is a series where we take a look at a Pokemon Go PvP battle and break it down into pieces so we can take a look at all the different factors that make up a Pokemon Go battle and see what we can take from it to bring into future battles, learn to become better battlers. So, this is a tournament that happened on my Twitch stream. I do Twitch streaming every Tuesday and Sunday night as well as Saturday morning, subject to change. I'll chuck a link to the channel in the description, and this was a tournament that I live streamed on that channel. It was my local community, Sylph League, South Australia, and we also had DrTrotter on, who was shoutcasting. DrTrotter is another very highly respected PvP content creator in Australia, and he and I do the weekly PvP show on the Arena Australis YouTube channel. I might chuck a link to that as well in the description. Just plugs all around. So he also has been starting to make a name for himself outside of Australia after having shoutcasted the Asia Pacific Arena Continental Championships. So he's been really keen to try and work on his shoutcasting skills, and so he jumped on to my stream to shoutcast this particular tournament. So we're in round 3 of this tournament, where we meet our heroes. We've won rounds 1 and 2, so we're on the sweep at the moment, and we've done it in pretty comfortable fashion. Like, the wins haven't been very emphatic, but they've been. It's kind of like when you have a plan and you put it in place and it goes exactly to plan. Like, we've been in command, you know. So we come up against David is here for round number 3, who has been watching the Twitch stream, but there's not too many Pokemon in my team that I'm worried about him knowing the movesets or anything. Let's check it out.
So we'll see what Fish is willing to lock in. So likes that Empoleon again, looking like that.
So in battle 1, I had gone Empoleon and Double Ghost in the back. You can see my team in that little window at the bottom right of the screen. My team's on the bottom, and David's team is on the top. So I'd gone Empoleon and Double Ghost. I'd lost the lead pretty hard. He led with the Medicham into my Empoleon. I switch into the Ghost. He brings out whatever he brought out to counter the Ghost. When he won that matchup, I bring in the Empoleon again, get up a bunch of energy, and then I can use that to flip that matchup against the Medicham, because I'd managed to burn his shields. 2 Drill Pecks from an Empoleon will take out a Medicham, so I managed to flip that over, and Marowak kind of finished the job, cleaned up the mess to win that battle. And again, in command, like comfortable, we had that plan, put it in place, it worked fine. Second battle, I tried to do the same thing again, but he switched one of his Pokemon out for Bastiodon, right? And that kind of countered. Obviously, my Empoleon's a great counter for the Bastiodon, but it will counter the 2 Ghosts pretty hard. So it was kind of a core breaker there. We didn't win that one, and so I had to make some real decisions for battle number 3, because kind of the way the matchups of the teams were working out, it seemed to be his Bastiodon and his Medicham that kind of changed the dynamic of how it went. Like, if he brought a Medicham, then that would change the way I set up my team for the final battle. If he brought the Bastiodon, that would change it as well. So I've tried to create a team that will kind of work with those possibilities. I've gone with the Marowak, Empoleon, and Primeape as the safe switch. The thinking being that if he leads Medicham again, fantastic, I've got that hard counter for him. If he leads Bastiodon, that's not bad, because I can switch into the Primeape and say if he's got the Gardevoir in the back, the Primeape goes down very quickly, and I've just got 2 other Pokemon that can, recover quite easily from there. I would probably say if he did bring out the Gardevoir, I'd bring out the Marowak so that the Empoleon is still there to come in against the Bastiodon when that comes out. If Medicham comes out, it's a little bit more difficult to... No, sorry, if Medicham's in the back, it's a little bit more difficult to sort out because that Marowak is really the only good counter to the Medicham. My best hope is to, say, switch into the Primeape with the goal of having Primeape as a safe switch is that it burns their shields. So once they burn their shields, this team does better. Like I said, that Drill Peck can flip that matchup against the Medicham. Marowak with Shadow Ball is going to decimate a lot of that team. So I need to get rid of their shields. That's the big thing.
Marowak is sitting steady in there with the Primeape, but I mean we've seen plenty of changes from Fish as well, and he's locked in his team. Let's see where David is here goes from this one. You can see Fish is concerned about stream sniping. You can see it in his eyes, even though he's playing as though he clearly doesn't. He's very trusting. And here we go. So round 3 coming in here, and we have the Gardevoir. So this is
Gardevoir, that's fine too. Basically that Marowak, I should have mentioned before, that Marowak is gonna beat almost that whole team when it's got shields up. So it's not going to beat the Bastiodon, and I believe because I've got Fire Spin on this thing rather than Hex, I think David's Dusclops will beat me. But other than that, Marowak is going to beat all the others. So I took a gamble that even if he did have Bastiodon in the back, he wouldn't lead with it. And same with the Dusclops. And that paid off.
Very nice place for Fish, because now he knows that his Primeape is pretty darn safe in the back. It's going to have a really positive matchup, or moderately positive matchup against everything else. So is he going to go straight to the Shadow Ball? And we get a switch. Wow, switch into Honch.
So, I can't hear what DrTrotter's saying. There were some things that he said. I do know that he misread what I was thinking, but that's fine. That's why I'm here. That's why you pay attention to this window here. So anyway, so he switches out into the Honchkrow, right? And like I was saying before, I want him to get rid of his shields fast. This is a particular team where having a shield advantage will be a huge advantage. So I threw the Shadow Ball, which would... Anyone who used Honchkrow during Sinister Cup will know just how hard it hits. Even when it's resisted, Honchkrow is just that glassy that it's going to do a ton of damage. So the plan was to burn one of his shields and then switch out to the Primeape, where Primeape, again, with 2 shields up, can win that matchup. Even though it's a flying Pokemon, Primeape will be able to counter it down and just have a whole bunch of energy ready to throw on whatever comes next. Even if it's Gardevoir, like, I think, like, it almost faints in 2 Night Slashes or something like that. So even if, the Primeape doesn't actually win the matchup, even if he shields one of them, like, I'm still burning his other shields. So I'm happy with that situation. So Shadow Ball to get the shield, switch into Primeape. That's the plan.
And his Fish is throwing the Shadow Ball this time. So if this Shadow Ball lands, it's gonna do a lot more damage than everyone would expect. And it does land.
I do consider myself a smart guy. But sometimes it takes a little bit of time for those neurons to fire. I think very slowly. So in a perfect world, I would have seen that he let the Shadow Ball go through and been like, well, I'll change my plan now. Now, I can Fire Spin this Honchkrow down. He's lost his ability to switch. I haven't. I can still switch to whatever I want. I will have to burn a shield because that Honchkrow is going to, as much as that Fire Spin, will chunk out the Honchkrow's remaining HP, it will still probably get to at least a Sky Attack before I can actually feint it down with the Marowak. But, I'm happy to burn that shield so I can have just all this extra energy and one less Pokemon and switch advantage. Because, once the Honchkrow goes down, David has to bring out whatever else is in the back. And I can decide to, if it's something I don't like my Marowak being in against, I can switch out to whatever I want to counter that thing. And that's no problem whatsoever because they're switch locked in. Instead, because I'm such a slow thinker, I ended up bringing out the Primeape anyway. Not only do I have almost no energy left on the Marowak, the Primeape doesn't have enough to work with in regards to the Honchkrow's HP. So, with that much HP left, the Primeape's going to get rid of it in 3-4 counters, which isn't enough for a Night Slash. If I had, say if David had shielded that, I would be able to get up at least 2 Night Slashes worth of energy. Because I gave up my switch advantage, I'm going to get rid of that Honchkrow in whatever it was, 3-4 counters. And then they're going to be able to bring out whatever they want to do the same thing to me. They're going to be able to counter my Primeape, get up a bunch of energy, and then use that energy against me. So I've really just done the worst thing by continuing with the plan that I had initially. Once David opted not to shield, I needed to continue to farm down with the Marowak. Huge, it would have been just such a big advantage to me. It would have been if this battle was a seesaw, I would be the heavyset kid at one end with his whole class trying to pull it down on the other end. And why that analogy? That is such a weird analogy.
And now he can just farm down with counters.
And here's the next thing. Here's the next thing. It got to a charge move, which, we assume it's Sky Attack. And that makes... You can kind of see my face there oh boy, I have a pretty difficult decision to make. So, one shot. Sky Attack will one-shot that Primeape. It's Honchkrow is so, attack heavy. So is Primeape. So that thing is just going to be gone. So then I have to bring out one of my 2 remaining Pokemon. I can bring the Marowak back in and get 1 Fire Spin worth of energy off of it, or I can bring the Empoleon in. Now, that's made very difficult by the unknown factor of what David's third Pokemon is. And I was talking at the beginning of this battle about it being either Bastiodon or Medicham. So, say I let this Primeape go, the Sky Attack comes through, I bring in Marowak, get 1 Fire Spin off, and then he's got Bastiodon in the back, I'm in trouble. I'm in a lot of trouble. If it is Medicham, then I'm okay. I'm in a good position. But I still have to, that Marowak has to do enough work to beat 2 Pokemon, unless I can get that Empoleon matched in against his Gardevoir again. Yeah, there's a bunch of permutations of that. So, those options are. I bring out Marowak, they have Bastiodon. Bad. I bring out Marowak, and they have Medicham. Good. I bring out my Empoleon, and they have Medicham. Bad. I bring out Empoleon, and they have Bastiodon. Good. So, it's a coin flip. It's a huge coin flip if I let this Primeape go down. Instead, I decided that it would probably be better to keep this primate going so that I could then make the decision myself. I could then know that, you know, this is what he's got. I can bring in whatever is... So, say, okay, say... say the Gardevoir comes back out, finishes me off. I bring out the... let's say the Empoleon to finish off the Gardevoir. I've now got that energy that I can unleash on whatever is in the back. You know, that those Drill Pecks will do a bunch of damage to the Medicham. The Hydro Cannon will crush the Bastiodon. So that was the thoughts anyway.
Oh, wow, they just get in a Sky Attack. And Fish chooses the shield, which is surprising.
DrTrotter was surprised. I wasn't happy about it myself. I did not want to use that shield protecting a Primeape when, as DrTrotter says, I knew that Gardevoir was going to come back out.
Because we're expecting Gardevoir to come out next, which is just going to chunk through this Primeape with Charms. Now, Night Slash is going to do a reasonable amount of damage to this Gardevoir. It's not that tanky, but I'd be surprised if we got a shield out of this one. No shield, and just going to rely on Charms to get there. Look how much damage that Charm is doing. Oh my goodness, that is big damage there. Now,
and here's that huge decision again, right? I'm faced with that decision either way, really. So I bring out Marowak. If they've got Medicham in the back, then it makes it a little bit more difficult for me to win that matchup because, you know, Empoleon is having to do that work. If they've got Bastiodon in the back and I bring out Empoleon, then yeah, that makes it a bit harder for me as well. So I'm still having to do a lot of guesswork here.
I'm expecting to see an Empoleon come out for the farm down, get some energy, and it's hopefully going to leave it. He's hoping there's a Bastiodon in the back.
And again, so close. This makes it even more difficult. Okay, so they just got to their charge move, right? So how could we have avoided that? If we'd let that Sky Attack go through on the Primeape, then we wouldn't have been faced with that decision. We'd still have two shields in hand at this point, rather than me deciding whether to use my second shield or not. Is there any other way we can... is there anywhere that we kind of delayed and allowed Gardevoir the time to get to that charge move? Once the... So we couldn't have... yeah. If that Primeape was a little lower on HP, then the Gardevoir would have taken one less charm to get rid of it, but then there was no way we could have, you know, willingly made our Primeape a bit lower HP. Even because, you know, Snarls could do a bit more damage to us, but unless we just stopped attacking, because that counter farmed the Honchkrow down, it couldn't snarl us anymore. So I guess the only thing that we could have done there is to just stop attacking, let the Honchkrow get 2 more snarls in, because then that would be enough to stop it just before it got to that Sky Attack, and then counter it. Even then, we might not have dropped our HP enough. But that's a very, very, very tight win condition there. So, back to this. Gardevoir just gets to a charge move, and that is another big watershed moment. I have to decide whether I want to shield this thing. And again, I have to worry about whether I think there's going to be a Bastiodon in the back, because if so, I need this thing around and at a high HP. If I think Medicham's in the back, then it doesn't matter. I can let this go.
Oh, it does get to a charge move. Is it Shadow Ball? Synchronize? What's there? Fish doesn't want to shield, but he does. You can tell he didn't want to, but he knew he had
There's your answer.
to. Very upset with that shield, having used that shield. Oh, but it's Medicham. That's right. We still have Medicham in the back here. So if this is a dynamic punch Medicham, it can delete this Empoleon very, very quickly. So shields it up, and then a very quick switch out into Marowak. So does David is here have a counter for this Marowak? Doesn't look like it, but Psychic.
That crossing my fingers there was just like, oh, I hope this doesn't faint. But like, even if it didn't faint, I was still in a lot of trouble. That's kind of what that what would you call that? The kind of compressed lips. It was a bit of a grimace. It was like me going, I'm pretty sure I've lost this battle.
Like KO here. This will be really, really close. He's got his fingers crossed that it's not going to KO. And it doesn't. So he's sitting pretty well. And a Shadow Ball will either take the shield or KO.
And you can see some indecision there, right? He had a shield left. I had enough energy for a Shadow Ball. And again, in two minds. I could have either tried to bait the shield out or go straight Shadow Ball. Now, the correct answer is to go straight Shadow Ball because I'm not going to get to... You know, if I use that Bone Club, I'm not going to have time to get to another Shadow Ball, right? So I had to just fire the Shadow Ball and hope that, for whatever reason, David didn't shield. Wanted to save the shield for something else. For that Gardevoir that's still in the back. But because I actually pressed both buttons before it actually fired, I wasn't sure which one I'd done.
But, whoa, Fish farming up some extra energy. Oh no, he tapped the wrong move. You can see it written on his face. He's not happy. He'll get the shield anyway. You get the shield anyway, and you might get to another Bone Club. Oh wow, the opponent throwing their energy. This is interesting. But I mean, this is not where you want to be, poor Fish, on a heater. So that goes down, and he knows his Empoleon is not really going to be able to survive anything. Not going to get to the Drill Peck to KO here, and that is game. You can see Fish a little bit unhappy with his team selection there. Oh, it survives. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, okay, gosh. Oh, man, I thought he might have actually been able to do that there. That extra bit of energy might have got the draw back, but double KO. Oh, wow, whoa. That was weird from David is here.
Right at the end there, I'm pretty sure David thought that I had reached another Drill Peck, which is why he would have switched out to the Gardevoir to try and catch that. Luckily for him, I wasn't, because the fast move, the charm was enough to take out the rest of my HP. Which is really lucky for him, because I was one waterfall away. So if I'd had slightly more health and survived that one charm, then he would have actually opened the door back up for me by allowing me to get to a Drill Peck, which I could fire on the Medicham when it came back in. Unfortunately, not to be, and I lost that one. So that's it for that one. Hope you learned from it. I certainly did. Next week we're going to talk about round number 4, because that was a bit of an epic finish. Hope to see you then, and I will see you next week.